everybody, it's me. I'm back. So it's been a little while since I've recorded a video like this, and this is going to be a video which is talking about energy around both some store products and an energy which you can use in terms of magic. This is going to be Avalon by Sunset, the power and magic of letting go. And I had been avoiding doing videos like this for a really long time because I'd been advised against it, like it was a bad idea. And a few people had been like, no, we really miss those videos. Can you start doing those videos again? And I was like, I don't know. I'm umming, I'm ahhing about it. And Molly told me the other day that she was like, no, I go back to some of those videos that are years old sometimes because they're a treasure trove of information. They're great. And she's like, you should totally do those again. And I was like, okay. Molly is my mecca. No, sure, but I love her. And so I was like, okay, all right, we can do that. We can do this kind of video again. So we're going to talk about the energies behind it, some of the magic of letting go and what that means. I'm going to talk about some top tips on energies of letting go of situations as we move away from them. And at the very end, I'm actually going to record a spell. So how to actually use one or two of the items and in a spell, in a mini ritual at the end. That will have to be on the video camera, so it may change sound wise a little bit at that point. I need a new video camera and I can't afford one. But it is what it is. So we will have a go at doing that, talking a deep dive about those energies and what it means and the story behind them. And it's Avalon, which I love, and this spell set and this energy, which I love. So let's do it. Let's get back into the habit. I don't know what that was. This is a really, oh, that's a really dodgy noise. That's gonna create some weird conversations. Never mind, we're leaving it all in. So this is Avalon by Sunset. So we're going to talk about some of the energies and what that means to us as spiritual practitioners first. So sunset is one of my absolute favorite times of the day. It's a very liminal space. It's very between worlds, and I particularly love sunset and dusk. And so the creation of Avalon by Sunset took me a really long time because I totally Virgo'd it, guys. I was like, if it's not perfect what I want it to be, it cannot be. I feel Shakespearean. If it is not perfect for my vision, then it cannot be. It's a little bit dramatic, just a smidge. But the energies of sunsets are really interesting, and because they're just completely associated with letting go. The energy of sunset is from healing from endings, helping you to move forward through transition, assisting with spiritual grieving, balancing the sadness of loss with the vibrancy of potential futures, as well as that potential alchemy. I feel like this is a big energy wave for 2020 for a lot of us because there are so many endings. There is death because of the pandemic and because of death in general. There is grief and grieving, and I've talked many times on this channel about the idea of a death cycle. You can find videos about death cycles from way back in the beginning, because this has always been something that I've been very acutely aware of in spiritual practice, working with the Morrigan, working as kind of like a shadow priestess, that endings are cyclic and they kind of vary from person to person with just how dramatic they are. But for me, there's definitely been major ending points with just the end of one cycle of my life. And it's almost like a death and a rebirth, which feels like you're not that person anymore because you're kind of not. And 2020 is, I mean, that takes a lot of work. Let's not bypass that, right? Like the becoming a different person takes a lot of work and a lot of energy and a lot of commitment to that change. And all of those energies should be backed up with all kinds of healing, the medicine that you need, the counseling you need, whatever it is that you need to get through those situations. Just go for it. Just speak to somebody. Just find help and support through the means that are there to support you as much as possible, because endings can suck. I'm not a big fan of endings. My top earthy signs are like, no, 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 we don't want to go. And Morrigan is like, get out the door. And I'm like, no, 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 no. I'm like one of those toddlers that doesn't want to go. And it's fine when you're there, because it's all in your head, like how badly it's going to be. It's fine when you get there. You're like, oh, this is fine. I don't know what I was freaking out about. And Morrigan's like, Spirits are like, yeah, we know. This is the same cycle you always go through, girl. You're not good with the endings, are you? And I'm like, so I wanted to kind of adapt my own experiences and difficulties through transition, and create that energy from healing for myself. And my healing place to go to, my spiritual healing center, has and always has been Avalon. And Avalon to me is many things. And we're not talking about the movies or the books, because a lot of people are like, oh, you're so new agey, thinking that it's just like the books, blah blah blah. I'm like, firstly, I have a problem with that author, so let's not. And if you don't know about that, let's not. It's not good. Let's treat the movie as a separate entity, which is slightly better, because I feel for those actors that were in it. But no, that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about spiritually journeying to the energetic matrix of Avalon to pull down these energies into the self, that are worked in sacred space to heal the self. And coincidentally, I am now part of the real life physical Avalon here in the UK. So it took me 8 years, but I got here. I've been working with Avalon as a energetic healing center for about 8 years. So there are small children, the same age as how long it took me to get here. Earth signs. I like to go the long way round. Anyway, so back on track. So death cycles. That's what we were talking about. It happens to all of us. We go through situations where things end, things fall away, things break down, relationships end. And so sometimes we need the alchemy, the personal alchemy that comes from transition space. Grief and grieving is a natural reaction to death cycles. This can be physical incarnation death that you have experienced, the loss of somebody else, or it can be the grief that comes from the end of certain situations of people who are very much alive. Some people find those situations way more difficult to deal with, and personally they can be, from a personal perspective, they can be way more difficult to deal with when people are still quite alive, they're just no longer in your life. So for me, this spell energy, this wanting to talk about the transition through loss, began, I want to say, was it September, November last year? I lost 2 grandparents in quick succession, and they died, and obviously, so, and it was a very complicated grieving process of which I wasn't really ready to talk about. It was a very difficult thing to deal with because of the family dynamic, the abuse stuff that happened in the family. There was no connection to these people anymore. There was an imbalance, particularly with my nana, because I had loved her so much growing up, and in the situation, and she'd always been there for me growing up. She was probably like my main person who I trusted, and it all fell apart later on with all the terrible things that happened in my family. So when they died, it left this chasm of grief and nowhere to put it, and people around me having the most revolting reactions to me, like mourning and grieving. It was really bad. It was really unsupportive. There was people in the camp of just get over it, like you shouldn't feel anything because you hate these people. I'm like, well, I don't hate them. I was mega disappointed, mega hurt. I didn't hate them. It was you know, I don't go easily down the road to hate. There's like 1 or 2 people my entire life that I felt hatred for, one being my father, another being my mother. But like most things don't compare to that anywhere near, so it's usually like a sadness or a hurt or a disappointment. And I don't believe in the whole, well, your grief is invalid because of this that came about as part of this experience, and some of the things that people were saying to me. And it was just a whole, like, 2020 is definitely like to the neck of some of the people who were saying these vile things around when I was most vulnerable and mourning and in a lot of pain. So there is something about the transition through loss that really brings out the real in you and in other people, and you will definitely come out the other side with big perception shifts of what's happening of the people around you and what it means. So Avalon came through as a healing energy like this. So let's talk, ladies and gentlemen. The priestess of Avalon lifts her arms in celebration as the sun begins to set and the sky is bursting with colours and radiance. The last rays of life from the day represent the endings in all our lives, the beauty with a hint of sadness. We all know that feeling, right? That bittersweetness of endings. She dances amongst the deep purples and pinks, her cheeks rosy and full of life, brimming with the experience of the day. She carries all the memories like whispers on the wind. The Avalon energies always bring healing into our lives. And for me, sunset is one of the most connective, liminal, and beautiful spaces that there is. Perfect for letting go of negativity and breathing in calm and peaceful, reflective energy instead. The Avalon range channels my personal connection to this healing nexus and always carries with it a vibration of healing. The magic of endings is balancing the sadness of loss with the vibrancy of possible futures, holding your arms wide in a process of giving and receiving, something we're going to touch back on in some top tips of how to actually channel this energy in a bit. Sometimes we can become easily blocked and fearful of the goodbyes, the nevermores, and the end of dreams. It can hurt. It will hurt. And it slips into the dreaming state of night so easily. We can carry that sadness. We can carry that pain. We can carry that loss with us. Sunset, I love this. I love this idea. I feel this idea. Sunset is the guardian of the dark womb space. It draws a tendril of light from the day's end to feed into the emptiness of the cauldron space, to bring informed possibilities into being. Memory keeping, the memory keeper role, is the key role of this priestess, the priestess of Avalon by sunset, helping us to carry what was through the beyond so it becomes less burdensome. Perfect for rituals of change, transition, transformation, healing from loss and emotional heaviness, seeking joy in transition, and letting go. So this is what it means to stand in the energy of the priestess of Avalon by sunset. So let's go over some of these ideas in a little bit more depth to how we can apply that to our lives and the energy and the spiritual process of letting go. The first thing that I think is really important is we should never seek to bypass or dismiss the difficult or the painful or the hurting. Something else that's really easy to do, and something that I know is really easy for me to do, is with the energy of endings, to see it as a waste of time. Certain energies, certain things can definitely be seen as a waste of your time, like I wish I'd never done it. I wish I hadn't wasted all of this time going down this road that didn't serve me. But we can find lessons in that. We can find small positives, even if they are small. And it's not to disregard the pain of how we feel, to look for the silver lining, but it's a process of healing that begins to crack the heaviness that occurs when the mind is kind of like very upset, very hurt, and it kind of lashes out. And it's like, well, this was a complete waste of my time then. Why did I even bother then? And that's a defense mechanism right there, which is really good to it's not really good as a defense mechanism, but it's really good to be aware that it is one. And so you're trying to hide your heart, you're trying to cope, you're trying to, like, it hurts so much. There might be energies of rejection in endings, and I think that's possibly the bit that I have struggled with the most over the years. I think the line, sometimes we can become easily blocked and fearful of the goodbyes, the nevermores, and the end of certain dreams, is really potent to me. Like, I could cry, like, rereading this line that I wrote when I was like creating this energetic matrix for the idea of the healing through letting go. So I don't know about you guys, but for me, like, this will never happen again is something horrible. Like, it hurts. And the end of certain dreams, like, you thought this was going to go this way, you thought this was going to evolve and grow into this, never happening, is hard, it's harmful, it hurts. What do you do? Where do you put that energy? Where do you put those thoughts? I think the first thing that's really useful as a top tip is just to sit in the energy of how it feels and acknowledge how you feel. Not a lot of people talk about doing this, and it's really freaking important to honor the feelings that you have, no matter what they look like, no matter whether they're acceptable or friendly or happy or joyful or spiritually light and all that bypassing crap that people bring out. Like, you're allowed to feel however you feel. It's valid. We've said that before, we'll say it again. You're not allowed to stay there, because this is the magic of endings, and endings is a process, a journey, and a cycle. Ellipsis, Ouroboros, on and on. But it's definitely easy to become blocked by those feelings. So just be careful of getting very, very stuck in anger and pain and loss and grief, because getting stuck there and never leaving it is a constant cycle of self-flagellation. It's really painful, and putting yourself through the cycle over and over and over and over and over and over again is something which just keeps you in a particular place. It keeps you in a particular mindset, and it allows yourself to kind of break down continuously. It doesn't allow for the transition, it doesn't allow for the transformation. That's not to disregard the time process that it might take you to grieve, depending on what the different thing is that you are grieving, whether it is a physical death of someone that you will never physically see again in this lifetime, or whether it is the loss of someone that has left your life and you will never see them again in this lifetime. But that's can be even worse for some people, because people have kind of chosen that. So that can be really painful in a different way. So where do we shift from knowing that we can't possibly move at this particular moment from this pain that's holding us down and is hurting us and is a pain in the chest, to allowing slowly breath to come back in? I think breathing exercises are actually a really fantastic way of getting through these difficult times, because if you feel how your body feels in one of these moments, it often like is clinging on to something that is leaving, and so the body kind of makes that manifest. The body kind of clings on to something, the shoulders lock in, the breath becomes shallow and rapid, and is not getting in enough air. So sometimes it can just be as simple as, I know this is hurting, I just need to sit in a place where I feel comfortable, get myself in a calm position, put some meditative music on, whatever's going to calm me in the minute, and just breathe. Because if you can keep breathing, you can keep going, even when it's difficult, even when it's hard. And that is something that I have focused on time and time again when things just feel horrible. Remember to breathe. And the other thing is, you can, over time, learn to breathe in a positive energy, but a healing energy and a transformational energy, and you're breathing out the pain. And it's a tactic that they use when you're actually like in physical pain as well, like breathing through the pain. And it's brought into giving birth and things like that, where you is used to breathe out through contractions and through pain. But you can also use this when it's just the body making pain physically manifest. So you're breathing in, I'm breathing in, I'm remembering to hope, I'm remembering to hope, I'm breathing it in, And then as I breathe out, I push out the pain of things which is causing me to be like ripped down and hurting. So I'm breathing in that healing energy, I'm breathing out, and like really puts, I like to put warrior energy behind it when breathing out and give it a good, Daisy just yawned at me, like she's joining in. Breathe out a good warrior breath, and I wrote about that in Songs of Shades 4 because I felt like the breathing apparatus is a really important spiritual practice that can really help us to gain a little bit of sovereignty back when we feel out of control. Okay. So I really like the idea of sunset being the guardian of the dark womb space, and the dark womb space being a metaphor for the night sky. If you're with me on Patreon, then you know that we've been talking about womb space in depth and how it is not just a physical construct in this cis female. It's a part of who we are on a spiritual level. Like the whole physical body, the whole nexus of being can be a womb space. You can create life in many different forms, and so it's good to get ideas outside of like just the very bog standard, this is what a womb is, not to take away the power and majesty of the womb. So sunset is the guardian of the dark womb space. It draws a tendril of light from day's end, so that little sunset feeding through to feed into the emptiness of the cauldron space, which is not really empty at all, is it? It's full of potential possibility and night space. But we are bringing informed possibilities into being. Memory keeping, Baby, Goddess Morrigan, and Babe in particular, and her lessons of that we are the memories that we carry with us is a big part of my spiritual practice. Helping us to carry the what was through the beyond so it becomes less burdensome. We can always find something, can't we, that we can learn from, that was the lesson, that was the silver lining, the bit where we did succeed in some way. And I think it's important to carry those bits with us too. It's important not to spiritual bypass the experience. It's important not to be like, oh, well, it wasn't so bad. If it's horrible, own that it's horrible. Own that it was hard. Own that it was hurtful. Own that you failed. Own that you fell down. Own that you screwed up, whatever it is, as part of the process of healing. But also the lighter bits, the light, the memory, the lesson, the part that you can carry with you forward so you can journey forward from this space into something else, something of creation. So how do we open ourselves up to potentials and possibility when we are healing through letting go? There's a number of things that I think are top tips are really helpful when going through a process of letting go, and we're going to go through some ideas and tips of things that I think is helpful, and it's just my opinion, and then we're going to talk about what you are creating in that same moment. Letting go and whatever it is that we're letting go can be against a lot of our inbuilt human reaction, our psyche, to hold on when things are comfortable and safe, when we know the routine. As many people have said over the years, that's not where you grow. Your comfort zone is not where you grow, and so that is worth bearing in mind as the difficult transition happens, that you will grow. And something that I have said, and I've said it a couple of times, and it never fails to feel true, is I wish I had known better, but at least I will be wiser. When I feel like I have failed in a situation, I can at least take the wisdom with me. Now, in letting go, the human behavior that occurs can be ugly AF. Oof, can it be ugly? So how many of us have ended a relationship or had a relationship end and it's just been a shit show? It's just been a mess. Hands up if you have suffered at the hands of somebody who, following the breakup, was absolutely vile to you on a number of different ways, or hands up if you have behaved badly at some point in your past following a breakup. I think we all have. That's the thing. And we can learn from it. Now, I've gotten to the point now, particularly with romantic relationships, that once it's done, for 99% of it, I'm just out. Like, if I'm one of these people that's like, I will give people way too many chances, but when I'm gone, and I'm just done with it. And for a lot of the time, I feel that this can actually be healthy depending on what you are doing with the space and the time that you are then finding freed up by the ending. So for me, this is the process that I go through, particularly with the end of relationships and transitions of it. I prefer to, once it's done, be done. I feel that depending on how the relationship ended, and depending on many factors, of course, like if you have children together, that's not going to be something that's possible. If you do not, and you feel the relationship ended horribly, then the severing of ties becomes necessary, and part of the cleansing and healing process. So a grounding process, like a grounding ritual, some healing ritual, some severing ties. Now for me, I find that when it is a very painful separation, you might not find yourself in the right mental state to be doing it yourself. And so it's best to turn to licensed professionals, people who know what they're doing, as well as friends who are magically inclined to support and heal you and have your best interests at heart, and you know they have your best interests at heart. People who will send you love and healing and protection and mean it. These are people who are on your side and love you for who you are. So that's exactly what I did with the breakups. I went to Glastonbury, I got some healing. I mean, that was before lockdown. So since lockdown, it's a little bit more difficult. We could probably do that now, being very careful with lockdown. But you can definitely get help to licensed professionals, and that doesn't just mean spiritual healing. That can be counseling, things like that, which I highly recommend if you found yourself stuck in cycles that are emotional self-harm and things that you realize that you've made choices that, just like I did, that are just not good for you, and you're hurt and you need the assistance. So definitely look for healing outside of the self. If the overwhelm of an ending is way too much for you, that's definitely on point, like major. Don't feel shame in it. We all get to points where we're so overloaded with emotion that we need a safe space to release. And I also found that going to circle space, like mine was in real life circle space, with other people, and particularly for me it was other women, was really releasing and really good. And I have to make a video talking about the red tent. I promised I would. And those rituals have actually been majorly life altering, where I can release the pain, I can release the sadness, I can release the feelings of betrayal, I can release all the things which are poisonous in a safe and sacred space that with people who truly hold space without judgment, and offer love and encouragement and know what they're talking about. And you know, the leader is a priestess of Rhiannon. So that's definitely a majorly helpful thing, that if you're in the process of grieving and letting go of and moving through transition, then other people that you can trust to turn to and talk to, definitely a top tip. It might seem obvious, it might not, depends at what point in the transition process you are going through. So what else can we talk about? Well, first, then you have to govern your own self, govern your own behavior. This is the first and only place that you are fully responsible for when it comes to the behavior of people in transition and through change and loss. The person that you are 100% responsible for is yourself. Slightly different with children, but for the most part, we're talking in terms of adult spiritual transition changes. So You are 100% responsible for yourself. And Avalon really teaches you this, like super, super hardcore. And the energy of how you behave, speak, and carry on is a direct reflection on who you are. It can be sorely tempting to descend to a certain level of behavior, especially if the other person or whomsoever is behaving in a way which is meant to be triggering. It's meant to be aggressive, it's meant to be vile, it's meant to hurt you as much as possible, because they are armed with information and insight into your personal heart space with how best to hurt you. That is a very unfortunate side effect of endings with regards to people in life settings, in death cycles in life, and is something that is very difficult to deal with. We're not really trained how to deal with this. We're just all kind of thrown into the deep end when it comes to this. How you behave is up to you, and I can't tell you to behave one way or another. Now, I am going to tell you that anger is a perfectly legitimate response. But what you do with that anger, and what you do with your energy, and what you do with your words directly reflects on who you are and who you are becoming. The more energy that I think you funnel into an argument with people that have left your life, that are no longer a part of your space, who are no longer wanting to love or support or be friends or whatever with you, feeding the energy of people who have chosen to behave badly is counterintuitive to your highest good. What is the point in putting coins in their slot machine if they're just using that energy to harm you? It's no good. Now, it's very, very easy to fall into that trap, especially when you've had a breakup. Like, you might be tempted to look at what they're doing because social media is so easy to do that, but that's self-flagellation, and then you're in more pain, because likelihood of it is that the person that left probably doesn't care. If the breakup was unhealthy and wasn't mutual and all the rest of it, then they're probably up to things which just show you how little they cared, and that can just hurt you even more, because that adds to that rejection feeling and mindset. So separate yourself from that. Do a ties that bind ending spell. Cut those spells, cut those ties, cut those energy links out. And a video just went live about calling your energy back to yourself. It's actually slightly older. It's from a couple of cycles back now on Patreon, which was all about Baba Yaga, which was fabulous. And that is a really good way of calling your energy back. So if you haven't seen that video already, I highly recommend it. Check it out. And I will be doing a spell ritual at the end, and we're going to talk in that a bit more about cutting the ties that bind. Boop. Back to the book. So, watch your own behavior. Try not to get involved in mudslinging. I know it's so easy. You hurt, you're harmful. You want to throw it. You want to lash out because you want to put that pain somewhere. Put it into healing. Talk it out with people who care for you and support you and love you. Counseling if necessary. Talk out those feelings. Talk out that pain. Remove it. Speak it. Honor it. Speak to the gods. Tell them. Let them hold it to account, because they will. Speak to the guides. Speak how you've been wronged. Speak to the universe. Put it out there that this is how you feel. This is, and it's so cathartic at the same time. And like, even if you need to go to the woods and scream it out, do it. Get it out. However you need to do that, like, and then it will lessen, because the energy is drawn out, the pain is drawn out, the poison's drawn out, and it doesn't fester in your energetic space for too much longer. Accept that certain inevitable truths will be true in death cycles, especially when it comes to people. Now, this is hard. I struggle with this. No shadow of a lie. Certain inevitable truths. Some people will stick their oars in, asked or not, welcomed or not, and they will stir the pot. Some people will basically go on a tirade of hate. If you've ever had a relationship with a narcissist, which is something that I never thought I would like actively talk about on a video, Because I was always like, well, I don't know that it's a good thing that you can, you know, call these people narcissists, because you shouldn't be self-diagnosing, and that's up to the psychiatrist, which is still true. But once you've been through one, you know what it's like, and you know it's not just like a bad breakup with somebody. You know it's a whole different ball game of bullshit, and they will slander you for years and years and years, and they're like a dog with a bone. They're obsessive, and it's always poor them, they never did anything wrong, and they're out there to create a campaign of hate against you. And some people will buy into it, and you just, it further hurts, especially if it's like people you were close with, your family, your friends, whatever. And it can suck. It can truly frickin' suck. So just accept the inevitable truth that unfortunately these things happen, and those people are not your people. And I know that's hard, because I struggle with it completely and utterly. So what else can we do? Top tips. So instead, and I'm presuming that we have started a process of healing, a journey of healing, and that's going to look completely different depending on who you are, what heals you, and a process of physical healing and spiritual healing, a nice balance of all these things, seeing a doctor if necessary, medication if necessary, counseling if necessary, all of these things in balance. Then you start to get onto the journey back to self. What heals you, what feeds you, what nourishes you. It can be really, really positive to find that happy energy tinged with sadness that we discussed in the Avalonian energies, to focus on what you are creating for. Open doors. So we're gonna run through a quick exercise together that I use to do this. You're gonna raise your arms to the sky. I feel so high, I raise my arms to the sky. But this is like rabbit. What is it? Oh god, no. Right. Try and do a V shape, right? Oh, this looks weird on camera. I'm just gonna do it like this, right? Just imagine my hands are all the way up in the roof. Raise our hands to the roof. And we're creating an open cup / womb space within this V of our arms. And that's why it works better up here, but then I'm like down here and it looks like I like hunchbackness. It's just weird because of the way I'm sitting. So just imagine this is a bit more, you could just do it this way if you like, but like the arms outstretched to the universe really helps. And you are creating a energetic space. You are a cup that is ready to be filled. You have removed all these toxins and you're drawing down that tendril of light. Now you can do this at sunset if you want to do this in the Avalon by sunset energies. If you feel that that liminal space is going to add boost to your letting go and then filling up with those potential possibilities, and you want to get all excited by the night sky, then do it. Do it at nighttime, between nighttime, but between liminal space. Go outside if you can, by the window if not. Big V shape, and envisage between your arms and into your body as being a vessel through which energy can flow. Connect yourself to the spiritual ecosystem, Joeyisms, you're welcome, that you draw this tendril of light down through the end of the day, down from the sun. Visualize it coming through, and if you've gone a bit later you can do it through star energy or just visualize it in general, and bring that tendril of light down to your crown or your third eye. I naturally kind of went third eye, so let's just do that. And then pour that light and fill that energetic cup up with that bright, shiny, gleamy light of possibility. Glow in the colors of your choosing, all of them if you want. I have a crescendo of colors. Fill that energy up, fill that sunset up, glow, vibrate, fill that energy within you in this quick and simple and easy meditation of bringing that potential in. And then out loud, or in a journal if you must, but I prefer out loud for this, we're going to begin the process of dreaming and believing. Name the dream, name the things you want, name the feelings you want to feel, anything, everything, anything that comes to mind, and know that you are worthy, and know that you can get there, and know that you are healing. And I think something that really helps me is the idea that you are a masterpiece and a work in progress at the same time. I think that quote, that energy really helps in situations of liminal space when you feel a little bit lost, and you just opening the door, bringing in more. And you can just do something as simple as that if you want to. I open the door, I bring in more. I open the door, I bring in more. It feels like a bit of a weird jump around song, doesn't it? I bring in more. I open the door, I bring in more. I'm opening the door, I'm bringing more. I'm opening the door. Woo! It's upbeat, it's silly, and it brings in energy and joy, and that's a good thing. Sing, dance, do whatever it is that brings you joy in that moment. Raise your power, yell it out to the universe. I'm here, I'm ready for better, for more, to feel again. So this is kind of the energies of the sunset. I think we covered everything that I wanted to within this section. Let me double check. We talked about the fearful things, about letting them go, about learning to let them go. We learned about dreaming into being and memory keeping. Sometimes memory keeping sucks, but remember that you can find positive energies in all these things. That's not to dismiss the pain, that's not to override it, it's not to say only the good things existed. It's balance. Balance, balance, balance. Right, so we're going to talk quickly about the products here, and then following the products we're going to do a spell, and that will be on the end of the video. So there are some products which are not here because they sold already, and it's very difficult for me to show you them anyway. So the anointing oil, and the incense sticks, and the bath salts, well, the water salts, spell salts, are all gone already, but I will put pictures of all the products in right at the end before the spell anyway, so you can get a better look at them. But just so you know, the healing by, once again, the Avalon by sunset energies are as follows: healing and connecting with the Avalonian priestess at sunset to help you heal from endings, helping you move forward through transitions, assisting with spiritual grieving, balancing the sadness of loss with the vibrancy of potential futures, and personal alchemy. The scent, oh gosh, the scent. So as I said, sunset is a big power time for me, so it had to smell like Joey wanted it to smell like. It was a whole thing, guys. It's a whole thing. The scent is a magical sunset because this is how I feel it should smell. I'm Virgo, so you know I'm right, with a Taurus moon. Deep amber and honeyed tones over delicate orange blossoms and honeysuckles. Child, so good, so good, so delicious. Right, and coming off of that is the smooge. So let's do the smooge first. Let's hope I picked up the right one. Or it's about to get interesting. No, it's fine. We picked up the right one. Oh my god, he's so good. I'm gonna try it real hard to focus. Yeah. Yeah, you're a little bit grainy, a little bit. Oh. So the smudge creates an energetic matrix based on scent. In another life, I should have been a perfumier because the things I do with scent will tickle you. I don't know why when I get excited it immediately goes dirty. Is it like the Taurus moon, the Taurus, or like some of the underplanet? Maybe that's, I've got a couple in Scorpio too, so maybe it's like when you get excited it gets a bit randy. I don't know. Maybe it's the under Leo, that could be true too. So the Temple of Avalon by sunset creates an energetic temple where you are transported to the Lake of Avalon by sunset. So it brings in the colors and the sense and the energy and the vibration of Avalon, which we've already discussed is a major place of healing for me and has been for a very long time. The energetic matrix is created and woven through imbuing every herb, every scent, and everything is created like a matrix to transport you into your sacred space, into this energy. Is designed to catapult you like, and then you wake up and you find yourself on Avalon. It's great. I've created a little instant transporter device. You just press the button and away you go. I wish that was the case. I'd be way richer. But there you go. So Avalon by sunset really does take you to that liminal space, that crescendo of color, and that temple of healing to help you transition and commune with the spirit of the Lady of Avalon in this space, to help you release, to help you heal. It's just so good. It's so good. I've been using some of these myself because I just love that deep orange blossom, honeysuckle, amber. Gorgeous. Then we have the spell oil. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, 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 shake your body. Oh, you see that? You see that light through? You see that color? Sexy. Sexy. Everything about you so sexy. And then the masterpiece, I had to have these, the perfect color. So votive and spell cauldron, which is the pièce de résistance, you sexy bastard. Apparently French is my go-to language about calling things sexy, which I guess makes sense because French is very sexy. So this is this gorgeous soy, deep orangey shade, this deep like sun color interset that you get when you get that at the beginning of the sunset. And then you can see, oh, the shim. Biodegradable shimmy. Right. And then the spell cauldron has the black base of the night sky, and it's almost like the sunset is being swallowed up into the night sky. You see that shimmy? I see that shimmy. You see that shimmy? I don't know what's happening. I love this. Maybe it's the scents. The scents are getting me going a bit crazy. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. Don't know what this place is. Anyway, right. So here's so much ends the physical recording where you're looking at my face. In the next recording, you'll look at my ass. No. Back up. What? No. When it's not that kind of show. In the next part of this recording, I will show you some images of the physical items, and following that, we'll do a spell together. Come a spell, join a spell, sing a spell, do a spell, do a spell, do a spell, and that is a witchy way of practicing letting go, and I will show you a physical example of this coming up following the pictures. Many blessings, guys. I hope you enjoyed the informative part of the video. I hope you enjoy the spell work that is to come. Many blessings, and I'll talk to you very soon.
Hello there guys, welcome back. So this is going to be the spell section of healing with the power of Avalon, particularly in this case Avalon by sunset, and we're going to be showing how you can create your own spell to heal within the space of loss, of heartbreak, of breaking up, of loss of relationship, of grief, as part of that healing process. Not to circumvent the healing process, not to ignore the process, but as a extra, as a bonus magical activity that we can do to help heal ourselves along the path. So here we are on the working altar, the altar of work. And I have my heart board out here. So this is a long awaited, long saved for piece from Pandora's Witch Shop. If you are not familiar, I got 2 pieces from them, and this is the heart board. Now they call it the love board, like the love spell board. That's not what I want it for at all. I want it for heart healing and connecting to truth of heart. So it really works beautifully with this particular spell. Now, before you engage in spell work, you may wish to cleanse yourself, ground yourself, cleanse your space, protect your space. I leave that up to your better judgment. Now, if you don't know about doing any of those things, there is many videos on this channel covering those aspects of things. But you can have a cleansing bath, for example, before you engage in spell work, if you feel the need, particularly if you're cleansing and healing and it's very heavy. I use my Blade Over Shield, my trusty Blade Over Shield spray, to just spray some protective energies across the space. Delicious. Blade over my shield, blade over my shield, loves, is my protection. But something I did think of that I thought might be a really neat little add-on to this is, what if you want to do the spell quite regularly and you don't want to do a full cleansing bath every time, and you're like, girl, I need to be doing this on the regular. I need to be healing. I can't be having maybe you don't have a bath, to be fair. Or maybe it's just, it's very time consuming and you're like, what can I do that would be quicker? And if I'm doing this over a process, over a number of weeks, over a number of days. And I was like, I've got you. So, so this is a locally made soap. So you can see it's dark forest charcoal, handmade hot process artisan soap. And this is really gorgeous. And this is part of supporting local handmade businesses. And this is from our local area. Oh, it smells so good. And as you can see, I have carved into it already, ground and root. Root. So you know, it's already sort of imbued and ready to go. So you infuse it with your intention. You might like carve into it like I do, and the tool of choice that I will be carving all of the things, and have already carved things in so you don't have to sit around watching me do it, is this. This is a porcupine quill. I love the white black, or white brown really, balance of this, and you can use different ends depending on what you're doing. If you are, you know, I want to ground, but if you want to, I want to banish. See, it's great. So, and then you can just wash your hands before the spell with the soap. Super easy, frickin' easy peasy lemon squeezy, if you choose lemon soap. And then I'm going to explain to you the layout, and then we're going to do the spell together. So I am dividing the board, or the space, into the 3 Celtic elements: land, sea and sky. Now, this is a more Celtic way of doing things, so if you want to shift it up and you want to do the 4 elements, you can absolutely do that. I am doing it thusly. Thusly. So, at the very top of my board, I have, well, you'll recognize this if you're in the Baba Yaga cycle. So this is my magical cauldron, quote unquote. I had so much fun with it. It just makes me giggle looking at it. I just put some stickers basically that were like, stay strong and bubbling and witchy on this. And this had Baba's candle in originally when we were doing work on Patreon. So into here is obviously the Avalon by Sunset votive, and I have actually added sea salt and some of the Avalon by Sunset spell salts, which you did not see on the beginning of the video because I was like, well, I've got some left and they're in the other room and it's a whole thing, so I won't stop the video. And then here I found this paper. Look how perfect this paper is. I hope it's going to show on camera. It's kind of shimmy and it's such sunset colors. And I was like, perfect. And if you don't recognize this, then it is the Healing by Avalon sigil of my own design. And I will say here that this is my sigil. I created it. Now, if you want to use it for personal work and non-commercial work, then go ahead, but it is not to be reproduced in a commercial setting because it belongs to me and it's very, very important to me. So I'm going to carve that now into this candle. Now I probably should have done this off camera because I'm probably going to make a mess, probably. Calling on the power of Avalon, calling on the priestess of Avalon. There we go. Not too bad, not too shabby. And in there with the salt, I mixed a little of the chalice well water that I have from the White Well of Avalon, of Glastonbury, because I am a part of Avalon itself now, which is pretty great. So the little bit of water mixed in with that sea salt is for the water section. And the reason that I decided to have water as with the fire, Joey, you're mixing elements. Why are we doing that? Well, because this spell is very much about the push and pull and give and take. So fire and water sort of working in like one element and the other element not opposes it, but kind of balances it out. It fits with that flow of energy. So that's what I wanted to do. And we are going to have the healing candle over here on this tea light. So I chose purple and I have carved heal downwards towards me. And I'm going to anoint it with the beautiful spell oil for Avalon by Sunset. And I'm going to anoint this down the candle towards me to bring healing in. And the reason the tea lights are burning is because this is a very old trick of mine. This is really back in the day, makeshift candlestick holders. And that one is in the earth, the land section, and I have a big mama piece of clear quartz that again came from Avalon, from Glastonbury, and that is there to amplify the energies of the earth in this spell. Now the energies of the earth are going to be used to bring the energies of healing into the body and to ground them into the body and ground us into the earth. Now nothing is separate completely, so the energies that leave us, or the energies that we are releasing as we don't want to hold on to this pain, to this grief that we're feeling, will be grounded down into the earth to be recycled for more than it's worth. And then I have a black candle over here, and the black candle has harm written on it. Harm is going up the candle away from the self, and I've actually crossed harm out. We don't want any harm coming back this way. Thank you very much. This situation, whatever it may be, has caused enough harm. So up and away. Now, when you are anointing your candle, I'm obviously showing you guys and talking it through in a very practical way as well. So just going to pop that down there. You want to be calling on the priestess of Avalon while you're doing all of this. I made sure to do that with the Avalon by Sunset, but you want to be filling your intention as you imbue into the candle. And the process of imbuing is to fill it with your energy, imagine it glowing, visualize it glowing, and visualize it with your intent. Now, that's going to be that we see the harm as a sticky, icky, rotty grossness that is leaving us, leaving our body, leaving our emotional state, leaving our mind. And for that reason, it's over here with the stick incenses. Can you tell I've been using them? From Avalon by Sunset, which is over here on the goddess with her beautiful spiral, goldy tones, very autumnal and very perfect for the vibe actually of this particular spell. And the air section over here is about purification. So we're using the energy of the sky to purify out any gunky funky negative energy that we don't want in our space anymore. We don't want these tendrils coming back. We don't want any leechy energy coming back. We want it gone. So at this point we will light the sticky incense. Now if you want to use the smooge, the smudgy, I highly recommend using the beeswax method with the oil burner. And if you haven't seen that video, that is live on the channel right now, and you can go check out how to do that. It's a non-smoke method of using loose incense that's much kinder on the lungs, much kinder on any floof babies, so they're not breathing in too much smoke. And it is a better method, as far as I'm concerned, of getting the most out of your loose incense. You get a much more delicate aroma. You get to pick up on all the different little scents. You don't get overwhelmed by charcoal and smoke. Now, inevitably, there are always people like, I prefer the smoke method. And I'm like, well, that's fine. You do you, boo. You do you. It's no skin off my nose. I'm just trying to help. So, we call upon the Lady of Avalon in her role as priestess. Priestess by sunset, Avalon by sunset, we call to you across the Great Divide, across the spiritual ecosystem. Come to us, fill us with your love and your harmony. Feel us, feel our grief, feel our pain, so that we can meet and meet again, and so that we can heal and be reborn from all that wounds us deep. I fill this space with cleansing air, with grounding earth and water fair. And then if you haven't heard of the Mothers of Earth, Sea and Sky, then this has been a part of Patreon, and this has been a part of Songs of Shades 4, and it is a big part of where I have been lately in terms of my spiritual practice. And so we're going to call the mothers of the land and the mothers of the sky and the mothers of the sea. Okay, so this is Songs of Shades 4. This is by me. Right. I'm just going to recite this and try my best not to sing it, because usually I sing it. So if we break out in song halfway through, I make no apologies. Mother of the earth, I call to thee. Mothers of the earth, please hear my plea. Mothers of the earth, be here with me. Set me free from negativity. Mothers of the earth, I call your name. Mothers of the earth, to heal my pain. As the moon waxes and as it wanes, Mother of the earth, I call your name. Heal me, guide me, set me on my path. Guide me, heal me, set me on my path. Mothers of the sky, I call to thee. Mothers of the sky, please hear my plea. Mothers of the sky, be here with me. Set me free from negativity. Mothers of the sky, I call your name. Mothers of the sky, to heal my pain. As the moon waxes and as it wanes, mothers of the sky, I call your name. Heal me, guide me, set me on my path. Heal me, guide me, set me on my path. Mothers of the sea, I call to thee. Mothers of the sea, please hear my plea. Mothers of the sea, be here with me. Set me free from negativity. Mothers of the sea, I call your name. Mothers of the sea, to heal my pain. As the moon waxes and as it wanes, mothers of the sea, I call your name. Heal me, guide me, set me on my path. Heal me, guide me, set me on my path. Now, I wiggled the words in there, I know, after the first one. It doesn't matter too much, it's where your heart is. I tend to full-blown sing that out loud when I'm doing this in private ritual space, and obviously we are kind of doing this spell together, but we're kind of half doing it because I'm having to explain things. So we are doing it, but when you do it for yourself, you might want to like really get in there with gusto. And the wind just picked up and the rain just came. Wow. I think the mothers might have heard us. I'm trying to figure out if I can if I can show you guys this with, like, I'm giving away, like, where I live. Okay, let's, wow. Okay. They heard us. So there you go. They heard us loud and clear. You've got to love when nature responds. I could cry. That's beautiful. Wonderful. Anyway, so we have called the mothers of the land and the mothers of the sea and the mothers of the sky, and they have heard us with bells on, which is pretty awesome. So, to recap, mothers of the sea, mothers of the earth, mothers of the sky. Now, on your piece of paper, which you may not have the cool sparkly sunset colours, because I was like, oh, I've got this. I was really surprised. I thought we were going to have to do white paper. I've done the sigil in silver for goddess tones. Now, I haven't written anything on the back, but if you want to write your situation, you can do that. And the one that you are looking to heal your wounded heart from, then you can. Okay, so that is just about all the setup. Now, you may wish to cast a circle beforehand. I haven't done that because this is already sacred space. I keep this space cleansed and sacred all the time. There's no funkiness getting in here, and I cleanse out regularly and protect it regularly. I do call on the mothers, and that is a very ancestral vibe, so that will call in all the mothers as well, and they will protect you. Now, if you prefer, you can call in the mothers and the fathers. It's entirely up to you. It's just, for this particular energy for me, it's quite a womb healy space, and we did talk about that womb energy. Now, I also talked about the fact that womb energy doesn't have to be the physical womb, but for me it is tied into that with this particular kind of healing in the current incarnation of this healing. That's why I called in the mothers, but if you want to do things differently, that is entirely up to you. You can do that. The important bit is calling in the priestess of Avalon. Okay, so as we light the candle at the back, Avalon by sunset. I've actually left the wick a bit longer than I would normally. I do have some scissors. I might just trim that slightly. I leave them a bit longer so people can trim them themselves. Oop! Nearly knocked the harm over. Not that we mind. Get rid of it. Get rid of the harm. Get it out. Get rid of it. Right, so as we light the Avalon by sunset candle, I want you to envisage the most beautiful sunset you have ever seen in your life. One that took your breath away. One that you felt connected to, and the colours and the crescendo and the magic of it and the majesty, and you just felt alive and connected in that space. I want you to connect to it as you light the candle, or as I light the candle in this case. Call that energy of that beautiful sunset into being. Set me on my path. The weather is raging, so I'm quite impressed with it. I'm like, oh, that's so good. Something else that I do when I call the mothers in, by the way, when I do the heal me, guide me, set me on my path, I clap. So heal me, guide me, set me on my path. Just shakes the energy up a bit, gets the vibes loosened up, gets rid of some of the negative funk that's around or within the body, loosens the body up a little bit for that action. Okay. So we're envisaging the sunset, and then we're connecting it to the idea of Avalon, the archetype of Avalon. We're seeking to journey to Avalon. and meet the priestess of Avalon. So in our mind's eye, we want to connect the sunset to the sunset of Avalon and see the priestess there with her arms raised up to the sky, worshipping that sunset, owning that sunset. Candles going cray. There we go. Welcome. Welcome, priestess. And I see her thus. I see her in the colours of this colour robe, and very shimmery and with like purple beads down the front, loose hair in waves, and a bare skin, bare feet at the edge of the lake, and the lake is reflecting all the sunset colours, and she is there, and she's just embodying it and just pulling down those energies in this transition, in this space. Feel it within your body. Feel your spirit be lifted by it. Feel yourself connect to the priestess of Avalon. Hear her say the words, "Welcome, my child. I know why you have come. I can feel your pain. It is time for us to transition. It is time for us to transform. It is time for us to begin the process of letting go of the pain and letting go of the hurt. In this space, name that pain." So as you do this, you want to take the black candle that you have labelled as hurt, and you've crossed hurt out, and if you want to write something different on it, if you want to write a name, if you want to write a situation, cross that out, you can. We're going to light it from the candle, from the Sunset by Avalon candle, and I'm going to place it back here where it can be purified by Mothers of Air, by the smoke. And in this space here, I want you to name your pain. This is going to be difficult, and that's okay. You might cry, you might feel rage, you might feel all the difficult emotions around the situation. You can yell at this candle if you like, if that helps. You can tell it all the things that you have had done to you, the places that hurt, the places that wound, the places that you are stinging and can't get out of, the things that are binding you to this situation, the things that are you struggling with. Just shout it at the candle. Just or talk in a very cross voice if you feel silly shouting at the candle. It's entirely up to you, but I find the shouting can be quite cathartic, and just really just push all of that feeling, all of that emotion, all of that memory, all of that pain into that candle, and visualize that candle pulling that energy up from your body and out into the spiritual ecosystem. So the way that I visualize this is the way that you would ground and root, go the other way. So roots and tendrils and leaves and trees going up into the spiritual ecosystem, which has all these glowing tendrily roots, and all that funky energy is just being pulled out, like out of the body, out into the ecosystem. And as it hits the spiritual ecosystem glows wildly, takes that energy, infuses it, takes it apart, digests it almost, and it starts to transform into pure energy again. So it no longer is that funky, slimy grossness. It's been taken away from you by the spiritual ecosystem, by the universe, by your spirits, by your guides, by those who watch over and protect you. That's not to say that the feelings of loss are gone, that the feelings won't remain. It is why I recommend doing this regularly, because it is a process of healing, of journey, of purging away. When you're in the space that you're ready to be free. And take a nice deep breath. Now here you might want to do a little extra cleansing. It's entirely up to you. You don't have to. You can carry on to the next phase. If you do, you could do something like, I like to take the shaker and just shake it over heart space. And if you want, and you have a representation of heart, you can shake it over heart space there too. As within, so without. It's up to you entirely. And now, in this space, we move to the earth, and we want to ground into ourselves the energies of healing, the energies of possibility. So we take our purple candle, that we have anointed with our oil and our good intention, and we envisage taking a candle towards the priestess of Avalon herself, and she is holding this candle in her hands, in her cupped hands. She is holding the candle there and raises it out to you. And then you take your candle and you light the candle from hers. You bring it back to the grounding earth mother section. And in this space, I want you to first visualize and speak second. So we're going to visualize first, pulling all the energies from our bodies, and we ground down into the earth first and foremost. So roots from your feet down into the earth and ground. So if you were feeling a little bit woozy, a little bit air scattery from the removal of all that energy, you're just going to ground into that earth energy and pull up the energy from the spiritual ecosystem up through your roots to fill you up, to ground you, and to connect you back to earth space and make you feel safe and secure, surrounded by. And after you have pulled the energy down and grounded yourself and pulled the energy back up, I want you to speak everything into being that you want to take place. Everything that you want to fill up this space, what you would like in the future, your dreams, bringing all that energy, that hopefulness into the body. And as you do this, I want to visualize the priestess of Avalon swirling her hands. She's put her candle down, swirling her hands towards the sunset and drawing down a tendril of light from the sunset, from the sky, that weaves in a spiral around, down through the air and between her hands as she swirls them. And she's making this kind of motion. And she swirls that light down and she pulls that tendril, that thread of light down and around into a spiral of energy in front of you, and then hands it to you. And then that spiral of light travels up your arm and into your heart space, filling you with the liminal space of the sunset. So we have taken away, we have given, we have honored the process. We have stood in the space of a sunset and known our place in it. We have thanked the spirits that be for protecting us, and we thank the priestess of Avalon. Thank you for your gifts. Thank you for what you have brought. Now in this space at this time, you may wish to meditate further. You may not wish to leave Avalon just yet. You may have a lot of painful healing to do, and you may want to stay here in this energy and cry and scream and rail and feel it, and then envisage even more strongly the things that you want to come into your life, the person that you want to become, the healing that you wish to take place. That push-pull, that balance, that give and take is the most important thing. And this is just one suggestion, of course, of which there are many, many blessings.